At the time of the incarnation, God was present in the temple as a man. So God literally comes to his temple in a real sense, not as a metaphor, but you don't believe that. You do not believe. Right, exactly. So Muhammad had a different religion to Moses, had a different religion to David, and had a different religion to Jesus.
Is this not possible? Is this not possible that the message or the text or the concept of that in like literal coming, is it not possible that that message is false in itself? I mean, it's been a long time, and there are lots of versions of the Bibles, and you know, everyone believes, everyone accepts that there is lots of manipulation in the Bible. So is it not possible that that manipulation is there?
Right.
That's why, you know, like instead of just the way we believe that our God is present more or less everywhere.
Yeah. So to answer your question, bro, the reality is that most scholars who talk about like things like canonical differences or textual variants or different translations of the Bible, the vast majority of those scholars accept that they do not impact the message. Did you know that? Did you know that?
I know that.
Right. So if the message is not changed, then the book is reliable, isn't it?
The message got changed in a multiple levels.
You've got to prove it.
Yeah, that's
Prove
what
it.
I'm saying. Like, as I said, I'm not a scholar, I'm not that much of in-depth knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But I know some contradiction in Bible. Like, in one sense, like I can't remember the guy who was like when he saw the Jesus body or something like that. He said about some sort of rock or something, and in another Bible or something like that, it was saying the rock was not present there. I can't remember that exact thing. So there are like
Okay, so let's talk generically because you haven't given a specific example. So generically speaking, what you're talking about is synoptic differences, where one gospel says something, and then another gospel talking about the same event says something different. Right, I want to point out to you that I can find exactly that in the Quran. I can, and I'll show you if you want me to.
Yeah, tell me.
Right, I will do. So, but let's be clear. You're saying if there are synoptic differences, you can't trust the book. Now, if you're going to be consistent, when I show you the synoptic difference in the Quran, you should then accept that you can't trust the Quran. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show you that what you've just described exists in the Quran, and you're going to make an excuse for the Quran, but then you're going to tell me in the next breath that I shouldn't trust the Bible. That's a double standard. Right? But now let me show you in the Quran.
Fair enough. You know, like, it has to be logical.
Let me show you.
It has to be logical.
Let me show you. Right? Have you got your Quran on you?
I can find out on ChatGPT and everything. Yeah.
Right, okay. Bear with us 1 second. Right, in Surah 7, 109. Yeah? Surah 7, 109. This is a synoptic difference in the Quran, which you said, because they appear in the Bible, and I accept they appear in the Bible, you're saying that because they appear in the Bible, we can't trust the Bible. So now let's see if you're going to be living by a double standard or you're going to be consistent.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, Surah 7, 109. Right? There are no trick questions that I'm going to ask you. I just want to ask you a very obvious question, right?
Yeah, probably.
So, said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed.
Okay.
Who in this verse is speaking?
Said the chief of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed. Yeah, one more time. What's the question again?
Who's speaking according to this verse?
Chiefs.
The chiefs.
Yeah.
And what are the words that the chiefs say?
this is indeed a sorcerer well versed.
Right. So the chiefs
Yeah.
say that this is a sorcerer well versed. That's what the Quran says, right? And obviously they're saying it to Pharaoh. Agreed?
Yeah, or people, yeah, over there.
No, I promise you in the passage they're saying it to Pharaoh.
No, it says the pharaoh, like the chief of the pharaoh. It's not the. It doesn't have to be talking to like the pharaoh itself. It could be like someone else as well. It's just making the point
Right.
that chief is the like chief of the pharaoh.
Chiefs of the Pharaoh speaking. Okay, now let's look at Surah 26:33.
And then again, this is the English translation. I don't know from where.
See, you're starting to make excuses already, and you haven't even read it. Right.
I'll go to the Quran
In
source.
Surah, in this Surah, who's speaking?
He said to the chiefs around him, a sorcerer well versed.
Who's
So
speaking?
in here, Pharaoh is speaking.
And who's speaking here?
It's the chief.
And what do they say here? They say, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed.
So,
And here he says,
Okay.
this is indeed
This
a
is-
sorcerer well versed. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
We're talking about the same point in the same story, and yet one version of the one part of the Quran says it's the chief priest to Pharaoh, and in the other it says
this
Pharaoh
is-
said to the chiefs.
I'm sorry, but this is getting silly. No, let's say.
There you go, excuses.
No, let me
This
tell
is a
you.
synoptic
I'll tell
difference.
you. I'm saying this is a bulb, yeah, and I'm pointing it out. Maybe it's new to us. I'm saying this is a bulb, and then also you are also saying, yeah, this is indeed a bulb. So we are saying the same thing. So that's what that
Right.
is saying. You know, it's could be same.
Except that
How is that a contradiction?
no, hold on one second. It's a synoptic difference. Now, no, yes, it is. Unfortunately,
That one, what
do you,
I'm
what
saying-
do you know what one second? Do you know what a synoptic difference is?
Yeah, I know.
Right, because if you don't know, I'm going to embarrass you. What does synoptic mean?
Optic, like what you see, like a.
Nope, that is not a synoptic difference.
Okay, then tell me. Please.
Thank you. Bit of humility here will help you. Synoptic means side by side. So you pointed out that there are passages in the gospel where they're talking about the same event and they describe it differently.
Yeah.
And you said that that was a reason not to trust the gospels. I've just shown you in the Quran the same story side by side where one version says that the Pharaoh says to the chief priests, and the other version says that the chiefs say to Pharaoh, and it's the same point in the story. It is a synoptic difference.
These gentlemen are here. They will, I think, will agree with me as well. Let's say, in Bible, let's say, according to the Bible, what that is saying. This is me. My name is Raihan, and I'm saying in one verse, or in one verse of the Bible, I'm saying this is a bulb. In another verse, I'm saying this is a tree. So you see, that's two different. I mean, it's contradicting itself, right? I'm saying the same thing. One time I'm saying it's a light, another time I'm saying it's a tree. It's a contradiction. But what you're saying, according to Quran, over there, it's two persons. It's not me. It's just not me. It's two persons. I am saying this is a light, and then again you're also telling me, yeah, this is a light.
Except that one version of the story says that you
got
said
it,
it.
right?
No, the contradiction. So, and the point
two
is,
different
then
things.
that same logic can be used for all synoptic differences in the Gospels. And this is exactly what I predicted, is that, exactly, there you go. So you've done exactly what I predicted. You made up excuses for the Quran. So, sorry, you said that we can't trust the Bible, then you made up excuses for the Quran, and then you said that the same logic can't be used to defend the Gospel. Did you hear that last point? Did you hear that? What's the last point?
But that's
What was the last
party.
point?
That's a third party here. You can ask him as well if he agrees with me or not.
Does the same logic also defend the Gospels? There you go. So he agrees with
You
me.
agree with
He
that.
agrees with me and he disagrees with you.
Because in the gospel, what you're saying is the exact same thing
That Christians say.
we're all the same stuff. It's just a different way of explaining what actually happened.
Yep. There you go. So why is it?
How is that?
There you go.
I'm saying
What?
it's a tree, and then again I'm saying it's a light. How is that the same?
No, where does
No,
it say?
show me an example of that in the Bible.
I'll-
Show me an example of that in the Bible, right? Because I'll show you the contradictions in the Quran. Do you want to just come this way a bit?
So from the ChatGPT itself, like as I said, I'm not a scholar or something.
Yeah.
It says,
Your whole argument, you don't even know off the top of your head. So you have to ask something.
Yeah, because the thing is, he's just repeating an argument that he's heard in the mosque. All he's doing is repeating talking points that they hear in the mosque, that they hear in their little study circles, but then they don't actually bother to be consistent in the way that they apply things. Right, so what's your example?
There is two things we can do. We can just debate and debate, we can just win, anyhow we have to win, that's one thing. Another is accepting the truth.
I agree, you should accept the truth and stop doing dawah.
Learning, trying to understand.
Right, what's your example? What's your example?
So in Matthew, it's like from ChatGPT says
Right.
that common example of people mentioned.
Yeah, Matthew.
How many angels were at Jesus' tomb?
Right.
So in Matthew 28 to
Yeah.
5, says
28.
one angel mentioned. In John, it says 2 angels mentioned.
Right, one second.
Yeah.
Chapter 28,
Yeah.
what verse?
You can see over there, 2 verse or 2 to 5 maybe.
2 to 5, 28, 2 to 5. Now after the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the grave, and behold, a severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled away the stone and sat upon it. And his appearance was like lightning. So it's talking about an angel.
An angel.
One second,
Yeah,
stop.
Yeah.
Think, right? Would you agree that I am talking to a human being right now?
Yeah.
If I say I'm talking to a human being right now, does that exclude the possibility of other human beings being nearby? No. So in other words, it doesn't say there is only one angel. Does it?
An angel.
Yes, correct, but it doesn't say only one angel, does it? Because if there was a contradiction, it would have to say only one angel, but it doesn't say only one angel, it just describes an angel. Now, would you agree with me that I could describe you, a human being, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other human beings here to describe? So no contradiction, no contradiction.
So what you said, this is wrong thing to say. If I am saying an angel, so that means an angel came. If I see some gates are coming, I'll say there are some gates are coming. If there's one person coming, I'll say there's one gate is coming. Or if I say one,
Yes.
that defines. You don't have to say only specifically only one guy is coming.
No, but for it to be a contradiction, it has to say only, but it doesn't. And so the two passages can be reconciled. One passage is talking about the actions of an angel, and the other passage talks about the other angels. Now, let me show you another contradiction in the Quran. The first one was good enough. It's a synoptic difference. But notice, Rajan, I'm saying it's a synoptic difference. I'm not saying it's a contradiction. I'm just pointing out that you also have synoptic differences in the Quran. Let me give you another example of a contradiction. In the Quran, Allah is the owner of all things, is he not?
Yeah.
In the Quran, Allah is the inheritor of all things, is he not?
Yeah.
How can you inherit what you own?
What do you mean inheritance? What does it say inheritance?
Right, inheritance, let's be clear, inheritance
Okay, yeah,
is
yeah.
that when you receive that which you do not own.
I understand what inheritance means.
So there we go,
but-
now we've defined the term. What does the term owner mean? It means you own something, doesn't it? So if Allah owns everything,
Yeah.
how can he inherit everything?
Why have you found these two terms is saying
Are you denying that one of the 99 names of Allah is the owner of all things?
99 of what? One more time, please.
The 99 names of Allah
Yeah.
that you find in the Quran.
Yeah.
One of them is the owner of all things.
Yeah.
One of them is the inheritor of all things.
I don't
You've
know the
already-
name. You have to say, mention the name. Then I
I've
can
just
say.
literally mentioned the name, the inheritor. Do you know what? Do I need to get the Arabic for
Yeah,
you?
yes, please.
Right.
That's nice.
Yeah. Oh dear.
As you know, like the religion, the words, the messages are not always like come directly. Sometimes it comes metaphorically, and sometimes it means a lot of things. And sometimes you have to have the perception, like a context to understand what it is saying.
Right, Al-Warith. There's the Arabic.
Okay, I'll worry. Yeah.
Right?
See that.
Al-Warith. So in the Quran, Allah is described as the owner of everything. In the Quran, Allah is described as the inheritor of everything. It is a contradiction to own and inherit. Do you agree? That's a contradiction. Right. He agrees. Your neutral observer agrees that owning everything and inheriting everything is a contradiction. How can Allah inherit what he owns?
So in here you see the ChatGPT, it is not my translation thing. It itself says the ultimate here, the one who remains after all creation perishes.
Right.
So it's not that kind of inheritance. Like your father have left a lot of things for you and you have taken them. But it says
Right, that's
even
not
after everything
the let me
God
just
is gonna be there.
right. Listen, right?
Do you think he's Muhammad Hijab?
Do you?
Have you debated Muhammad?
We're having a conversation. And yes, I've debated Muhammad Hijab. Now, right? The Arabic root, sorry, bear with us. Not interested. Sorry, I'm getting lots of adverts. Right, the Arabic root is waratha, which has the following classical Arabic connotations: to inherit,
And what exactly
to
does it mean?
be an heir, a survivor. Oh, go away, adverts, sorry. Flipping heck. To be the owner or sustainer after someone. Okay? So the term means to inherit, to survive, to be the heir. Right? Allah inherits. How can you inherit what you own?
As I said, even from there you can see the survivor.
Yes?
So
Yes, because everyone who inherits is living longer than the one that they're inheriting from.
there are lots of Arabic words that have different meanings. So it's like the survivor is the one I'm taking.
Yeah,
Even everything perishes, Allah is gonna be there.
right. So, the word in Arabic means this.
Like that contradiction is gone.
No, it hasn't gone. The word in Arabic means this. We begin by defining what it means to receive an inheritance. It usually refers to the passing down of money, property, or some material thing from one person to another upon their passing. This is typically a transfer from a parent to a spouse down the family tree to preserve whatever wealth they had. So that is what the Arabic term means. No, let me tell you. That is what warith means. That is the Arabic meaning of the word, and it is applied in the Quran to Allah. And what Muslims do is, because it is a contradiction, they reinterpret the word, which strictly means what I've just defined it as, and then make it say something it doesn't, and that's what you're trying to do right now.
Let me give you one more contradiction in the Quran, yeah? That most of non-Muslim claims that's a contradiction. Like in some parts, Allah says us. Rather than me, it says us. So what everyone says, how can it be us? That means multiple feet or something. But if you go to India, they are like they can say me, or they can say us as well. And it's about the royalty. There is a term called me, or they can call hum. In some part of the India, they say hum instead of me. They say us. So it's the term, the language thing. It's not just always literally means exactly the same thing. Like us means doesn't always mean multiple. Sometimes it shows the royalty, the divinity. So same way, the inheritance over there, even for you, read a bit earlier, that survivor. That inheritor means survivor as well. So we have to take what makes sense. So as you said, like yourself, the inheritor cannot be the owner. The owner cannot
Correct.
be the inheritor, yeah?
Yes, but the
So
Quran
in
is
here,
called both.
it's gonna
Allah is
be-
called both.
It's going to be the survivor, the
Right.
sustainer.
No, let me just continue because I'm quoting an Islamic website. Listen to what it says. As we discussed in the previous name, Al-Baqi, the everlasting, and Al-Akir, the last, he is the one who will exist after all possessors disappear. Did you all hear that? After all possessors disappear. He is the originator, Al-Badi, and the creator, Al-Khaliq. So naturally, all things belong to him. So when all is said and done, when creation vanishes, all things return to their rightful owner. So on the Islamic website, not ChatGPT, your scholars are talking about repossession, about the return of ownership. That is a contradiction. The literal Arabic word al-warith means one who inherits. And even theologically, Muslim scholars giving their tasfir on the 99 names of Allah talk in terms of Allah surviving and reclaiming that which is his, which is contradictory because you can't inherit what you own. Do you want to pull out another Bible contradiction and we'll just go blow for blow?
No, what we are doing, we are not accepting what's the reality, what's the...
Yeah, you're not accepting the real deal.
I'm accepting, I'm always accepting, I'm always...
So how can you inherit what you own?
As I said, right now we have our free will. We can do whatever we want. We have been debating. Allah is not telling us not to debate on anything.
Yeah.
It's not controlling our action, yeah?
Yeah.
But if you want, he can. So he has given us all the free wills and everything. But when everything finishes, then we will be in front of God, Allah. So at that time, we will not have any more free will. We will be acting according to the exact program you are supposed to acting. Like that time, you will not be able to lie. You will not be able to do whatever you want. You cannot have as I said, no more Christianity, nothing.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be the one same thing. So that's what maybe it means. I'm not a scholar, but from my understanding, that's what I can understand.
But can I just point out,
Yeah?
you said that you're not a scholar,
Yeah.
and yet you very confidently said we can't trust the Bible and that the Bible has contradictions.
Okay.
I want to just point
In that
out,
case,
one
I
second.
say-
I just want to point out that I always find it amazing that Muslims, when they're talking about Christianity, speak with confidence, but Muslims, when defending Islam, are always saying, I'm not a scholar. I want to point out to you that you are no more a scholar of the Bible and no more a scholar of Christianity than you are of Islam. And since you can't defend Islam, you should not criticize Christianity because you don't know. But you've just said, I'm not a scholar. I don't know. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. But the point is, when it came to the Bible, you weren't saying, I might be wrong. You weren't saying, I don't know. You were saying the Bible can't be trusted because of synoptic differences in the Bible. I want to point out to you that perhaps you should recognize that you are applying a double standard in your spirituality.
In that case, sometimes, what you can see, if it is plain truth, you have to accept it.
Yes, you should.
If it is not plain, then that could be multiple, perception or something like that.
Yeah.
So, what I say, in one, in Bible, that is a plain explanation. It says in one case it's saying two angels, another case it's saying one angel. In
No,
one
it doesn't
case,
say.
I'm saying
It doesn't say only one angel. It just says an angel. An angel could be part of a group. Are you aware that an angel could be part of a group?
It could be, but it says an angel came. If I'm saying a guy.
If
came
I
from,
say-
if a guy came from.
Let me ask you a
America,
question. Rajan, you don't understand English. You're trying to argue about something when you don't understand English.
Now
If
you're
I
going
say,
there. Now
no,
you're
well,
going
it's clear because grammatically speaking, if I say, pass me an apple, if I say, pass me an apple,
Yeah.
does that mean that the apple is on its own and that there isn't a bunch of apples?
Okay, what you say? Let me.
Answer the question. If I ask you, pass me
I'm answering.
an apple,
Let me answer.
does that mean that there is no possibility of other apples being present?
Okay, let me answer that.
Answer that question.
See if it is English or not. Yeah. So you are asking me to pass an apple.
Yes.
So I have passed an apple.
Correct.
That means one apple.
Yes.
There could be thousands of apples.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Rajin, the argument's over. You've lost.
No, let me tell you, it's not about losing anything. I have given you one apple.
Correct.
In another verse,
Yes,
it is saying I have given you two apples.
correct.
So it's not. It doesn't make sense. It's like
It does, because if I describe an apple, it doesn't mean that there aren't other apples. And so if one gospel talks about an angel, it does not preclude the possibility of there being other angels. And if the other gospel talks about the other angels, it doesn't mean that it is contradicting the previous gospel. But it is logically impossible for an inheritor to inherit what he owns.
Okay, the apple analogy you have said, your viewers are there, they will have the final judgment. Like, that's how lots of people are converting into Muslim because
Lots of people becoming Christian. What's your point?
no.
Yes, they are. Rajan, this is just another thing that you tell yourself. You just tell yourself that people aren't becoming Christian. This is just what people in mosques say. But the reality is, there's a revival of Christianity going on right now in the UK, in France, and in America.
Okay, I've been to church. There are lots of churches.
Which church? Which church?
There are two churches in Degin Harbor.
I've been to empty mosques. There's mosques in Turkey that are empty. There are mosques in Algeria that are empty. There are mosques in Tunisia that are empty. What's your point?
What I'm saying, like, it used to be a Christian country.
It should be, yes.
It used to be.
It was,
And
yes.
now more than 50% of them are atheists.
Agreed.
So,
Well,
yeah,
no, they're
that's
not
the thing.
atheists, but they're not Christian.
Yeah, okay. So they're not Christian. They belong to some other category
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. So lots of Christians, they claim to be Christian. Like, yeah, they're Christian, but they don't go to church. They don't follow anything. Even
What's that got to do with what we're talking about?
No, what I'm saying, one Christian guy I know, the workplace I'm working.
Yeah.
So he doesn't drink alcohol because he says it's prohibited in Bible itself.
It doesn't say that at all.
He does not eat pigs because he says that even in Christianity it's prohibited. So that's how
Raji,
it is.
it's starting to.
Understanding it.
Raji, before you go, I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Okay,
That's a gift. Yeah,
I'd like
come
to-
back and talk again. God bless.
Okay.
I'm going because it's chucking it down with rain.